Hi y'all, I'm Brenda with Blessings and Bread. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm in the kitchen because I'm going to be making peach jam. I recently went to the orchard in near Pittsburgh, Texas, and I picked up some wonderfully delicious Freestone peaches from the orchard, and so today I'm going to be turning those peaches into peach jam. So come along with me while I make some peach jam. I have been making jam since I was in junior high or maybe younger, but I have always made jam using Pectin or Sure-Jell as the brand I usually use, and I have preferred to use their recipe, and it's a powdered pectin that we'll be adding, and I'm going to just follow their recipe exactly. Now, used to the recipe and instructions came inside the box, but now you have to go online and download that. So last year I made the point of writing them up and putting them in my personal little cookbook so that I can have the recipe and not have to look it up every single year. I've done a little prep work before we get started. What you need to make jam is you need your fruit, and I'm doing peach jam, and I'm using, for peach jam, it called for 4 cups of prepared fruit. Now, I've already prepared my fruit. I use the whole fruit, everything but the seed. I do not peel my peaches. I'm not real sure where I learned this, but I have been doing this for years, and it absolutely makes the very best, it'll make the very best jam that you can make. That peeling is where so much of the flavor is, and it makes a beautiful color. So I have been using the whole peeling. Now, to do this, you really need to use a food processor, or at least chop your peaches very, very, very fine. And you can see here, I've already prepared my peaches, and it takes 4 cups. This is 4 cups. And you can see I chopped them really fine. And that's the first thing that's gonna go into my pot are my peaches. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those in the pot. Now, I did these a little bit ago, and so to keep them from turning brown, I went ahead and added my fruit protector to them. A lot of people know fruit protector is Fruit Fresh. Fruit Fresh is really just the brand name, but the fruit protector is in there to keep the fruit from turning dark. So I didn't want it to get too dark while I was getting everything else ready to go. I do have my jars. You can see my hot water bath cooker here. I do have my jars already in the hot water bath cooker, sterilized, ready to go. And on the back of the burner here, I have my jar lids and my jar rings heating. All right, so I have my peaches in there, and like I said, I've already added my fruit protector. So Fruit Fresh is usually the brand that I get. That's the Ball brand, but now they call it Produce Protector. So you may see either of those terms. Now I'm going to, next though, I'm going to add lemon juice, and it calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And I did also read this year, learned something new. I learned that you should only use bottled lemon juice when you're canning fruits and vegetables. And I'm not real sure why. My best guess is that it assures that the lemon juice has enough acid in it and is acidic enough, or the pH is acidic enough that it works in home canning. All right, so I've got in my peaches and my fruit protector and my lemon juice so far. And the next thing we do is we're gonna stir in the pectin. And again, the Sure-Jell, when I say pectin, I'm meaning Sure-Jell. And I've already just put that in a little bowl, so I'll make it a little easier here to stir in. So I'm gonna stir in my pectin. Oh gee, the dogs are barking because Rod's coming in from mowing, but they'll settle down maybe once he gets inside. All right, so I've stirred in the pectin, And then there's one more thing to add before we turn on the heat here, and that's a half a teaspoon of butter. And the purpose of the butter is to keep it from creating too much foam. And it's optional, but I have really found that that works really good. The directions also say to do this on high heat. So I'm going to set my stove, I'm on a gas range, and I'm gonna set my stove a little bit between medium and high and see how we do. And if I need to adjust that during this, I can. So now I just am going to stir this and constantly. You want to stir the whole time, but I want to bring it to a full boil, and that means a rolling boil is when it's boiling, and as you stir it, you cannot stop it from boiling. In other words, it won't stop bubbling while you're stirring. So this may take a little bit, so we're just gonna take our time to wait on the peaches to come to a boil. My peaches are now rolling at a rolling boil, and I can't stir it down even when I'm bubbling, even when I'm stirring. So the next thing to do is just stir in the sugar, and we're going to put the sugar in all at one time. And I believe I'm using 5.5 cups of sugar. So all the sugar's going in at one time, and then you want to stir that in. Now what's going to happen when I put the sugar in, and as it cooks and returns to a boil, is that sugar is going to start drawing juice out of the peaches, so that I will end up with more juice in my jam. It's all stirred in, so now I'm just going to stir this till it returns to a boil. And when it returns to a full boil where I can't stir it down, then I will let that boil for 1 minute. Now, when I was in college, I was majoring in home economics, and one of the things I had to do for an experimental foods class was to conduct my own experiment. And I decided to experiment with making jelly. I just thought, if I've got to do something, I can end up with a bunch of jelly to eat or share. So I tested the jelly making to see if it really made that much difference, if the cooking time was more than a minute. And it does make a difference, but I never felt like the difference was enough that it made a big difference. Now, I only tested like undercooking it by maybe 30 seconds and overcooking it for 30 seconds. So a little bit over or under might not matter, but I would not recommend it. You really need to, I think over would be better than under, but really 1 minute is what's recommended, and that's what I try to do. Even though I did my experiment, I felt like the one was the best. So I'll be following directions today and doing my best to let it only boil for 1 minute. All right, I think I have a full rolling boil now, and even though I'm stirring, it continues to bubble. So we're going to set the timer on my stove for 1 minute and continue to stir while that's boiling. This is a jam recipe, and the difference in a jam recipe and a jelly recipe is that jelly uses only juice, and the jam actually will use the whole fruit. All right, just a few seconds left, and then I'm going to turn off the heat. There we go. Turn that off. I'm going to turn off the heat. If you're on an electric range, you will need to move it off of the heat. Now, the next thing I'm going to need to do is to remove the foam that has collected on top. And so you can just skim it off, and I just have a little bowl that I put it in. And again, it's still going to make some foam even though we put butter in there, but it's not near as much as if when you have no butter in there. The foam is not bad, it's just not very attractive. And a lot of times I'll save this that I'm dipping off and we'll make some homemade biscuits and eat this foam jelly with biscuits. So I didn't have a lot of foam, but if you can see that, that's the foam that I've dipped off, and this will gel later in that little cup. Once your jam is through boiling and you've skimmed off the foam, it's time to fill your jars. And this is a jar, I've taken it just now out of the hot water bath cooker or canner so that my jar is hot. I don't want to put this hot liquid in a cool jar. The jar needs to be hot, and I'm going to fill to within 1/4 of an inch to the top. Recently, I was doing some more studying about food preservation, and I did not realize that it's really recommended different amounts of space to be left for different things that you're canning, and it really does affect it. So I'm trying to be better today, and I'm going to use a 2-piece canning lid. Make sure they're new lids, and using this is a really cool little gadget that I just got, but it's got a magnet on it, so it helps me pick it up, and I don't even. And now I'm going to fill the rest of these jars, and then I will come back and show you when I get I'm ready to water bath my jam. I now have all the jam in the jars, and it's now time to water bath process the jam. Now, years ago when I would make jam, it never even recommended you do this step, but I'm sure it is just a precaution to make sure that you don't get some kind of bacteria or mold or something that might grow in your jam. I will say this, jam has a lot of sugar in it, and that sugar alone will help prevent any spoilage. But so for years, I didn't do this step, but they are now recommending it, so I'm doing it just to make a precaution. That way I know my jam's gonna last, probably will last longer because I've done the hot water bath. So I'm going to turn this up. I've had it kind of on low and start getting this water really hot. I'm gonna put my jars in, and once it returns to boil, then I will process it for 10 minutes. So let's get these jars very carefully into the hot water bath canner. You want to make sure when all your jars are in that the water is at least 1 inch above the tops of the lids of the jars. A hot water bath canner is different than a pressure cooker canner, so you do not want to stack jars in your canner. You really can't do it and then still get 1 inch of water above. And hopefully I'll get all of these in there because I actually made a second batch of jam, and I really haven't counted, but I think I have 13 jars. The last jar's going in, and I definitely have the water 1 inch above the lids. So now I will just put the lid on to my water bath canner. And now I'm going to wait until I see steam coming out, then I know it's boiling. And once it begins to boil, the water's boiling, then I will start my timer for 10 minutes. And then I'll take them out and let them cool. And I'll be back when all that's done. It's the next day, my jam is completely done. I finished the hot water bath for 10 minutes, and then I let it sit in the water for 5 more minutes to kind of cool down a little bit before I took it out of the water. Then I set them just on a towel to cool down completely, and I've let them cool overnight. I had one jar that wouldn't fit in the hot water bath, so that's the jar I'm going to use today for a taste test. And I will just keep this jar in the refrigerator since it didn't get sealed properly. And I'm going to give it a taste test today. One, I'm just going to taste it. That is so good. It has such a strong peachy flavor. That's one of the things about using the peelings in this recipe, is that's where a lot of the flavor is. So this peach jam is such a rich peach flavor. I got up this morning and made some scones so I could have something to go with my new fresh jam. And this is still warm out of the oven, but I'm going to put a little of this jam on my scone. I love biscuits and scones. That is so delicious. This is absolutely one of my favorite jams. It's sweet, but it's tart, and it's got that punch of peach. It almost tastes like a peach is exploding in your mouth. This is just an amazing peach recipe. And the key, it's just the Sure-Jell recipe. It's nothing special, but it's leaving those peelings on that I think makes a difference. Also makes it this beautiful, rich color. And it'll just be delicious. And I got actually 13 pints. One batch made 6 and one batch made 7. I don't know how that happened, but I ended up with 13 jars, and I'm definitely going to share some of these with family and friends, and keep some for myself. And there goes the dog. Somebody must be at the back door. Oreo, Oreo. We have one dog that likes to bark a lot. Oreo, go. Well, if she'll be quiet, I can finish this video. Oreo, go. Sorry, that was my dog barking. And I just hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you the next time I'm in my kitchen, on my porch, or in my garden.